December 1952. London, one of the largest cities in the world, home to nearly 8.5 million people. 7 years had passed since the end of the Second World War. The city was rebuilding. Factories were running at full capacity. Power stations supplied electricity to millions. Every morning, life followed its familiar rhythm. No one imagined that within days, the city itself would become a deadly trap. Today, this disaster is remembered as the Great Smog of London, one of the deadliest air pollution disasters in modern history. It lasted only 5 days, yet, according to later studies, it claimed the lives of approximately 12,000 people. Without a single bomb, without a single shot being fired in the early 1950s, coal was Britain's primary source of energy. Homes, schools, factories, and power stations all depended on it. During the cold winter months, coal consumption increased dramatically. Unfortunately, much of that coal was of poor quality. Burning it released enormous amounts of smoke, soot, and sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere. Air pollution was nothing new for London. The city had lived with smoky skies for generations. But in December 1952, several conditions came together to create the perfect disaster. On the morning of December 5th, a severe cold wave settled over the city. As temperatures dropped, people burned even more coal to keep warm. At the same time, a weather phenomenon known as a temperature inversion formed above London. Under normal conditions, warm air rises, carrying pollution away from the ground. But this time, a layer of warmer air trapped the colder air beneath it. The smoke could no longer escape. To make matters worse, the wind had almost completely disappeared. Every chimney, every factory, and every power station continued releasing smoke. But instead of drifting away, it accumulated over the city, hour after hour. At first, few people were concerned. London had always been famous for its fog. Most residents assumed this was simply another winter morning. But this was not ordinary fog. It was a poisonous mixture of smoke, sulfur dioxide, soot, and microscopic particles. With every breath, people inhaled toxic air. Without realizing it, by the afternoon, visibility began to collapse. Within hours, it had fallen to only a few meters. Bus services were suspended. Drivers abandoned their vehicles. Police officers struggled to control traffic. Flights were cancelled. Ships along the River Thames slowed to a crawl. The city was gradually disappearing behind a wall of smoke. The most remarkable scenes unfolded on the streets. People searched for their homes. By keeping one hand against walls and fences, some became lost. In neighborhoods they had known for years, the smog seeped inside buildings. Theaters could no longer continue their performances. Cinema audiences could barely see the screen. Several shows were canceled, even while spectators were still inside by the end of the first day. Hospitals noticed something unusual. The number of patients suffering from severe breathing problems was rising rapidly. Doctors believed it was only temporary. By the following morning, they would realize they were facing something far more dangerous. When the sun rose on December 6th, the smog was still there during the night. Nothing had changed. The polluted air remained trapped, hovering over the city like a heavy blanket with every passing hour. More people arrived at hospitals. Most complained of persistent coughing, chest pain, and severe shortness of breath. Doctors quickly noticed a pattern. The elderly, infants, and those with chronic lung disease were the first to become critically ill. But soon, even healthy adults began showing the same symptoms. The air itself had become the enemy. The smog reached far beyond the streets. It entered homes, office buildings, hospitals, and public transportation. People found no escape. Even indoors, some hospital operations had to be postponed because surgeons could no longer see clearly enough to continue. Ambulances struggled to reach patients. In many areas, drivers could barely see beyond the front of their vehicles. London's transportation system was falling apart. Most bus services came to a halt. Many drivers refused to continue. Unable to see the road ahead, the underground remained one of the few ways to travel, but station entrances became overcrowded. Thousands of people were forced to walk for miles, through air that grew more toxic with every breath. The city's economy also began to slow. Shops saw fewer customers. Deliveries were delayed. Many businesses closed early, simply because employees could not reach work. The capital of Britain, normally filled with constant movement, had become strangely silent. The disaster was not limited to people. At London's famous Smithfield livestock market, numerous cattle collapsed and died. Veterinary examinations later revealed their lungs were coated with thick layers of soot. It became undeniable this was not ordinary fog. Something far more dangerous was spreading across the city. Despite the growing crisis, the authorities were slow to react. No large-scale emergency warning was issued. Most schools remained open. Millions continued with their daily routines. Every hour, more smoke poured from chimneys. Every hour, more lives were placed at risk. And across London, the number of deaths began to rise. By December 7th, London had been trapped beneath the smog for 3 days. The crisis was no longer measured by visibility. It was measured by the number of lives being lost. Air pollution had reached levels never before recorded in the city. The concentration of smoke, sulfur dioxide, and fine particles had risen to dozens of times above normal. Every breath delivered another dose of toxic chemicals deep into the lungs. Hospitals were overwhelmed. Doctors and nurses worked around the clock. Beds filled faster than they could be emptied. Oxygen supplies began to run low. Patients waited in corridors as medical staff struggled to keep up. Death certificates listed bronchitis, pneumonia, heart failure, and respiratory infections. But today, medical experts recognize that these conditions shared a common cause: the poisoned air. In the years that followed, scientists carefully examined what had happened. The investigation revealed that the disaster was not caused by smoke alone. The low-grade coal burned across London contained large amounts of sulfur. Once released into the atmosphere, sulfur dioxide mixed with moisture. Inside the dense fog, the result was a cloud filled with acidic droplets. Millions of people without realizing it, had been breathing air capable of damaging their lungs with every inhale. On December 9th, the weather finally changed. A fresh wind swept across the city. Slowly, the smog began to break apart. For the first time in days, London could be seen again, but the damage had already been done. Thousands remained hospitalized. Many others would die in the days and weeks that followed. The first official reports estimated around 4,000 deaths, but later research painted a far darker picture. Many victims did not die during the 5 days of the smog itself. Instead, their lungs had been so severely damaged that they succumbed long after the skies had cleared. Today, most historians and public health experts estimate that approximately 12,000 people lost their lives. More than 100,000 others suffered serious respiratory illness. The Great Smog became a turning point in British history. Public pressure forced the government to act. In 1956, Parliament passed the Clean Air Act. Smoke control zones were introduced. Cleaner fuels gradually replaced coal in homes. Industries faced stricter environmental regulations. The disaster reshaped Britain's approach to air pollution and became a model for environmental legislation around the world. More than 70 years have passed, yet the Great Smog of London remains a powerful reminder that the deadliest threats are not always visible. Sometimes, the greatest danger is the air we believe is safe to breathe. More than 70 years have passed. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into history, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and join us for the next story, where history once again reminds us that reality is often stranger than fiction. Until next time.